Hey there everybody, it's HeroicLegend here, and welcome back to Friday Magic in the Arena. Let's actually go to the deck list so we can see what's happened. This is a work in progress, but these, well, ignore this too, by the way. I'll briefly show off this deck, but boop, 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 boop. And also boop. These are all the new decks I've made, basically. So I'm going to use this episode probably to very briefly go over them. Since, oh, I also do have some good news. For anyone who follows my Twitter, you might have seen this. But I actually have decided to go with the name change on PlayStation using the free one. And I use that free one to give myself the name HeroicLegend-YT. So, HeroicLegend-YouTube. So, if you're watching this and you've seen that name on your team on PSN, and you're wondering why you suddenly had the misfortune of losing 12 matches in a row, you know who it is. Okay, I'm not going to do the whole I'm a terrible gamer. I actually am pretty decent. But if you're wondering why if you're wondering why the Zenyatta played the hero and literally body blocked for you so that you could run away with the flag in Overwatch, or you're wondering who's the madman running around with a sack giggling like a schoolgirl as he bops somebody in the head in Call of Duty, that's me. That's actually me. Hi, it's fun playing with you. Anyway, so the Play Creatures deck, it's effectively a white weenie deck because I wanted to just get through the quest and play creatures. We have Johnny's Welcome to keep me alive until I can play 20 creatures. We have Gird for Battle to keep the creatures alive so I can help play more creatures. 4 copies of Hazda Marshall, or Mazda as a buddy calls it. 4 copies of Hunted Witness, 4 copies of Law Ruin, 4 copies of Vanguard, 4 copies of Ajani, even though I have the one alternate art. I wish I had all of them alternate art. 4 Battlefield Promotions, again, to keep them alive. 4 Divine Arrows, so that way I can hopefully get to the, keeping the creatures out. And 2 Grateful Apparitions, because if I somehow win, this would be funny. But yeah, that's all I really have. It's just throw creatures at them. It's literally just play creatures to deck. I don't care if I win. But if I do, everyone will probably be the first to hear about it. Return to Gruul. Basically, this is how a deck I would have made when I was first starting out would look. A lot of mixed cards, but with a central theme around them. This is basically my Gruul deck that I would take into ranked, as you can see, because I have sideboard. Well, traditional ranked, which I might start doing again. We have Crash Through and Warlord's Fury for draw. 2 Lava Coil for a form of protection along with Root Snare. We have the Crunch Wrangler and the Pollen Bright, as well as the Raging Crunch, which all synergize very nicely. In fact, Pollen Bright works beautifully if you have Rhythm of the Wild out, because Rhythm of the Wild will trigger before Pollen Bright, and if you need to, you can always make her trigger second. Crunch is beautiful, and actually Crunch Wrangler, if you have both Armory and Rhythm of the Wild out, can give himself another +1. I thought that was crazy, but I thought that was really cool too. We have the Blinding Fog, which is good just for keeping my creatures alive, along with Colossal Majesty for some extra card draw. We have the Evolution Sage, who just, again, with Rhythm of the Wild out already, he just becomes insanely strong, although he's at turn 4. A lot of this is turn 4 madness, which I really do appreciate. New Horizons for some ramp. Vivian, Domri, and Nissa, of course, are our Planeswalker friends, because Domri gives them another +1, while Vivian lets you cast them right away. Well, cast them during your opponent's turn. And Nissa, of course, is just there making the land like we don't know what to do anymore. Nissa would probably be... Nissa's really more here for the Blinding Fog, Root Snare stuff. I might actually consider putting in some buff cards, but yeah. We also have Ilharg, who's really good at a little combo of Pollen Bright Proliferate, which could be easily broken. or just bringing in more Crunches temporarily for Crunch Wrangler to get powered up by. Really, we're looking to beat him down before the match goes on too long, and that's why we also have Rhythm of the Wild and Armory. But yeah, that's Return to Gruul. We also have the Carnage Bastion in case we do need to just try to build up from the ashes, you know. In case me and my opponent are both top decking and I don't want to show my hand off. We have Protective Mill, a remake of my Mill deck. With Drowned Secrets only 2, Kasmina's Transmutation, Lazotep Plating, Persistent Petitioners, Wall of Lost Thoughts, Depose Deploy, Psychic Corrosion, Thought Collapse, Ashatog Jace, Sleep, and Expansion Explosion. This is pretty much the protection that I needed in this deck, using Sleep and Expansion Explosion. Well, using Sleep, Dispose Deploy, and Lazotep, as well as Kasmina's, because Lazotep just means I can probably have a 4/4 beater potentially at one point. Or at least I can have another thing to block for me. Expansion Explosion to basically counter a counter, or copy a card, copy in form of removal, and just throw it right back at my opponent. It's really just there for no use. Sleep's just good in case I need to, like, I want to get a free turn in of Petitioners just tapping, or just anything in general tapping. Ascending, this was a deck that was a real passion project for me. It all really focuses on Simic Ascendancy, or just building up a big enough creature that I punch someone in the face with it and they die. Of course we have Nissa again, because Nissa and Simic Ascendancy just go together like bread and butter. Frilled Mystic for countering of cards and being a body to place counters on. Aeromunculus, which is a nice little flyer which you can have in the sky. New Horizons to help Evolution Sage. Evolution Sage himself also just being good. Sin Sab to get a good look at what the next card is in case I'm like short. Reduplicate and Replicate, once again, I could see that being really good. Because I can always... I wonder if I could copy a token creature? Because then that means I could get more mana. Oh, that'd be a little bit dumb. Unless it was Hinterland Harbor. Then that'd be kind of funny. We also have Growth Spiral, Pollen Bright, Teferi's Time Twist, which I would love to see combo off. Lazotep for that free +1 for amassing. Stony Strength, which is just good in case you've tapped anything, period. So again, I'm going for the swing, and then I'm like, I don't want you to be tapped. Or, you know, just a free counter, which really helps Simic Ascendancy. It's a weird type of Ascendancy deck. I had an idea, as you can see, with it, and I'm hoping that it can work out one of these days with alternate win con. Of course, the sideboard is Llanowar, Callous Dismissal, Thorn Lieutenant, Marween, New Horizon, the last two New Horizons, Prime Speaker just to get out some cards. Like, again, it could be really clutch if I'm like 1 point away from, and I'm a few points away from from winning, but I need to proliferate. You know, so all I need to do is grab Pollen Bright and this, like, oh, look at that. I easily, yeah, 1+. So sacrifice Llanowar for a 1+, and all of a sudden, we got out the Pollen Bright Druid. She proliferates and we win. Oh yeah, Merfolk Skydiver's another good one just because you can proliferate, period. And if you throw her out in the field, she gives herself a +1, and she's a flying Merfolk too, which I thought was really cool. Houndoom Burn. For anyone who knows Pokemon, Houndoom's burn, according to the Pokedex, is so painful that you will continue to feel the burn even after it's happened, and you will never get rid of that pain. So I decided to make the deck match it. Houndoom Burn, we start off with Fanatical Firebrand, Cthulhu Lava Runner, Shock, 10 Street Dodger, 3 Cavalcades of Calamity, 4 Lava Coils, 4 Lightning Strikes, 3 Runaway Steenkin, 4 Viashino, 4 Skewer the Critics, and of course 4 Tibble. Tibble basically says, no, you don't gain that life back. This is a form of a burn deck that I wanted to try out. It's only really amazing if you have out your Fanaticals and your 10th Street right away. And of course, Lava Runner's good until he gets the old you know, +1, +1/+0 boost from cards in your graveyard. Oh, the hiccups. We have Featherfall, my upgraded Boros deck. Featherfall, I took some inspiration from, I believe it was, I think it was Saffron Olive. So here we have Defiant Strike, Gird for Battle. We have Integrity Intervention, Adamant Will, Battlefield Promotion. Battlefield Promotion is actually really good. I just realized it was an instant, which is, I think, one of the few cards that has put a counter on, and it is an instant. We have Justice Strike, Response Resurgence, which has actually won me a few games. 4 copies of Swiftblade, 4 copies of 10th Street, 3 copies of Make Stand, 2 Deafening Clarion, 1 Feather the Redeemed, 1 Tajik, the 2 Tajik leads into 2 Alluria, as well as 2 Heroic Reinforcements. So really, the whole idea here is if Feather gets out and he has any of his combat buddies of Swiftblade or 10th District, then we're set, because we're just going to keep throwing Gird for Battles, Battlefield Promotion, you know, all that good stuff on these creatures. Not to mention we have Alluria here for just in case a Ritual Stick comes out, and she needs to now fight solo. Heroic Reinforcements for that juicy turn 4, like, triple Swiftblade if possible, and just mess them up with a damage of like 6/6. Well, basically 6, 8, with a whole 10 points of damage. And if I do that again next turn and my opponent's tapped out or they don't have creatures, it's just over, man. In the sideboard, we have Law Ruin Enforcer for just in case my opponent's able to bring out some stuff that I need tapped. Good friend to Swiftblade. Grateful Apparition is really good to the mentors. Lava Coils for protection. Sure Strike for, again, that beautiful feather play of giving him first strike and then just punching. Conclave Tribunal on the off chance they have something. 2 more Heroic Reinforcements, and of course, Nahiri for just in case I want my Feather and my 10th Districts and all that good stuff to have first strike. Tajik with first strike just really is nice. Okay, now we're on to Soren's Minion. Jamer made this deck for me. Now, I know it seems scattered, but it actually did work surprisingly well against an opponent. An actual human opponent. We have Johnny's Welcome. 2 Gird for Battles. 1 Dread Malkin, just really a target that can be hit. The real combo pieces here could be seen as a Johnny and Soren himself. We have the Grateful Apparition, which is another lovely combo piece, because you just put 1 Gird for Battle on it, and that's it. We have Martyr for the Cause, which proliferates when they die, so a target for any type of sacrifice, like Dread Malkin. We have Dreadhorde Invasion, which if we play things out the way I want to, it's just utterly nasty. Resplendent Angel for the lovely, I've gained enough life, start giving me tokens. Murder, because, you know, murder. And then a Mortify to take the place of one of the murders in case I need to get rid of an enchantment. 2 Oaths of Kaya for just in case, you know, one's destroyed. 2 Shy of Wizards of Plenty to protect my creatures. The Wanderer for exiling targets and stopping burn decks. Soren himself for gaining life. The Wanderer Strike just to proliferate and just pop a creature. Regal Bloodlord for the creating of bats, with Bolas' Citadel for just in case, and that could synergize really well with a Johnny's. Ethereal Absolution for the messing up of opponent's creatures, as well as Liliana for the creating of creatures. You know. And of course, if she ults, just really can ruin an opponent's day. In the sideboard, we have Kaya's Ghost Form, Vicious Rumors, Aid the Fallen, Gideon Blackblade, Kinjali Sunwing, my other copies of Resplendent Angel, and of course Squire's Divination, or Devotion. Divination, wow. I must be still tired. We have Double Strike Madness, the deck name alone should clue you in. Defiant Strike, Arboreal Grazer, Battlefield Promotion, Divine Harrow, Grateful Apparition, Druid of the Cloud, Gideon Blackblade, Make a Stand, Teo's Light Shield, Topple the Statue, Evolution Sage, New Horizons, Utali, the Sun's Heart. I always call him Kwande. He might be just Wande, the Pride of Femirif. I don't know how to say that. Nahiri and him are the real combo pieces here. He can't be hit by Ritual of Soot, but I'm gonna need to start throwing counters at him and hope that he can stay on the field. We also have Ajani here for the giving of counters as well. God Eternal Oketra Zeptala. This deck is all about getting out creatures on the field, even though it's only 16, keeping them alive, and giving them double strike, using Nahiri and Kiwande as the combo pieces there. We have a lot of cards here to we don't have much in terms of finding what we need, which I think I need to learn how to do better. But we do have some protection, and of course in the sideboard we have things like Urgent the Crisis, Sell the Wreckage, the Wanderer, Bloom Hulk, Wanderer's Exile, and Plain Wide Celebration. There's a lot of cards to help add on counters and make the creatures do a lot of damage with double strike. Carnival of Carnage. This deck has seen quite a few iterations, but this is probably the one I'll be happiest with. We have Vicious Rumors, Carnival Carnage, Footlight Fiend, Blade Brand, Breach of the Forgotten God, Severed Strands, Angraff's Rage, Dreadhorde Butcher, the Fireblade Artist, Skewer the Critics, Tybalt Rakish Investigator, Batu Bedevil, Judith, our favorite diva, the Mayhem Devil, and Captive Audience. The whole point is to hopefully have these two on the field, using our removal spells until they're both there, so turn 4, and then getting things like Footlight or Fireblade out. Okay, the optimal play is Footlight Fiend turn 1, or Vicious Rumors. Then we go Fireblade Artist. Then we go Judith, or Tybalt. Basically, turn 5 is what we want things to happen the most on. Because if we go to turn 5... Well, actually, no. The optimal play here is to have someone like Fireblade out, and then we have things like Tybalt's creatures or Footlight out, and just basically sacrificing cards to just deal face damage. We also have Captive Audience as a kind of type of finisher, just to really drag the point home, especially if my opponent creates the zombies for me, because I'll just sacrifice them. Doesn't work for Judith, but it does work for Mayhem Devil. But Judith could still give those targets a mean +1/+0, which could be useful, as well as Fireblade just sacrificing them, period. Requires some more work. I'll get to the meta deck in a second. This is something I've been trying to create, but I couldn't really think of stuff, so I need some time. You've seen my discard/mill deck: Vicious Rumors, Burglar Rat, Discovery, Thought Erasure, Thought Collapse, Darvel, Murder, Ashtalk, Thief of Sanity, Fell Spectre, Ravenous, Connive Concoct, Obnix, and all this good stuff. This deck is mostly to annoy people, and it works out beautifully. This is my meta deck, which I've just been on a winning streak with. 2 Crash Throughs for draw, because I didn't have much. I took the basic meta burn deck, and I made it my own. 2 Crash Throughs, 4 Fanatical, 4 Gethoot, Lava Runner, 4 Shock, 2 Tin Street, 2 Warlords. Okay, they're going alphabetical order if they're all the same cost. Interesting. 4 Lightning, 2 Runaway, 4 Viashino, 2 Chain Whirlers. Sorry. 2 Risk Factors, 4 Skewer the Critics, 4 Tybalt, and 2 Wizard's Lightning. Because I need to make space. This one has no sideboard, because this one should only really be played in singles. And yeah, that was a little preview into the decks I've been making throughout the weeks. More like throughout this week. Anyway, when we come back in the next episode, I will be showing off one of these decks in Ranked Traditional. I really do hope it's not keeping my rank from normal, but we'll have to see. Anyway, thank you all for watching and indulging in this episode. It's nice to show you the Armory once in a while, and, you know, it's fun for me. I'll figure out what I'm playing in Traditional Ranked. And until then, just want to say thank you all for watching. You know what to do if you liked the video, and until next video, laters.